3, 2, 1. What's going on, everyone? You're watching Ash on Comics. My name is Ash, and you're watching Ash Wednesdays. Yep, that's that time again. Every Wednesday is New Comic Book Day, and it's my favorite day of the week because of that. And I do my little show, talk about comics I pulled, talk about things that are on my mind about comics, and just so that I make sure to credit the right people. Thank you, Eric Breen, for the show name. I contributed the S here at the end. That was my contribution. So if you like the name, he gets the credit. And if you hate the name, send all your hate mail to Eric. Today is August 21st. It is a Wednesday. It's 2019 in case you're watching this in the future. So now you're looking in the past. Number 4 of the episodes, Legacy number 35, because everyone really cares about Legacy numbers. Am I right? Let's get into it. Every week I make fun of Marvel and their number ones. They are the house of number ones. There we go. That's better. Hashtag house of number ones. They literally put out more number ones every month than they used to back in the day when I collected previous to the year 2000 and Marvel going bankrupt. Then Marvel would do it in an entire year. They might actually do more number ones now per month than Marvel did in multiple years. It used to be you just get a couple number ones a year at most. And usually those were just miniseries. But anyways, here we go. Absolute Carnage versus Deadpool. Because modern comic events are not about being awesome and solidifying your love of comics. You know, like it used to be. Infinity Gauntlet, you'd be like, yeah, I love comics. This is awesome. I'm going to go buy more comics. Now it's an excuse to piddle out these new number one issues that you would have no reason otherwise. No one would care about Absolute Carnage versus Deadpool if you didn't have an event, supporting it. But that's where you got it today. This is the 4th number one for this event. There will be more number ones for this event than there was for Infinity Realms. Keep that in mind. Not Infinity Realms, War of the Realms. Who cares? It's some Ghost Spider, number 1. Because why doesn't this exist already? I don't know. Did it exist? I don't even know. It probably did. This is probably a new volume. I'm sure one of you guys in the audience knows. But regardless, here's a new number 1. It'll probably run for about 12 issues, which will be summarily mini-series, out of nowhere, like, oh, it was just a mini-series, and then it will be relaunched as another number 1 so that you can get all excited about having your number 1s. And finally, Marvel Tales X-Men. I saw this. Holy ballsack. The cover on this is hideous. Oh, it is so awful. This is one of those books that Marvel's been doing all year, which is like celebrating the 80th anniversary of Marvel, which is not really a real anniversary, but whatever. Marvel, is jealous of DC and wants to jump on that bandwagon and have their 80th too. So what they're doing here is they're reprinting 3 old books and they're just putting it under one cover. There seem to be random books. They don't even seem to matter in any way, shape, or form. If I can remember off the top of my head, it's X-Men 58, the original Uncanny X-Men 58, which is the first appearance of Havoc. Fallen Angels number 2. Okay. And then I think it's Uncanny X-Men issue 272, which was a great Chris Claremont, Jim Lee era issue, but just seemingly random. And here's the kicker. It's $7.99. There's no new stuff in here. It's got a shitty cover. This should have been 3 True Believers books. If they're worthy books, they should have been released as True Believer books. By the way, there are 10 X-Men True Believer books coming out this month. So, that's $10. You get 10 books. Here's $8 and you get 1 book, which 3... You get the drift, right? You can go on Comixology right now and get each of these books for less than $2 if you want. This is a total ripoff. But that's what Marvel does. They put the number 1, they rip you off. It's a joke. Here's what I'm going to talk about. The dog's barking. They're unhappy with X-Men too. Today I want to talk about Sony taking back Spider-Man. Yeah, it's already in the news. Everyone's talked about it, but I haven't said my piece really. Also, Nerkish is back. If you don't know who Nerkish is, well, I'll end up telling you. Also, Binge Comics. I saw a comic when I'm, perusing. Really? Yeah. Walk of shame, buddy. Walk of shame. I saw this comic, Scout Comics, I think it is. And they had this comic that's coming out that now I forget about it, but it had a neat looking cover, kind of looked cool. I read the description. They talked about, well, I'll cover that when I get to it. And spoiling comics. Today, a big comic book came out today with a really big spoiler, and everyone jumped on it and decided to spoil it. I want to talk about that as well. Joining me today, as always, is Stan the Man. How you doing, Stan? Oh, you're doing great? Oh, good. Got a nice drink. It's going to go with my burger. I appreciate that, dude. You're always looking out for me. That's what I like about you, Stan. And we got Forky. Forky, Frag Minion called you the devil. Are you the devil? I don't think you're the devil. I think that was pretty mean to say. But he's our resident mascot, and he's an expert on all things trash. We're not really doing reviews today, so Forky's just here for moral support and to learn the ropes. And we're going to get in with this burger because Sergeant Bass is right, man. I eat too many cold burgers because it takes me too long to do this. So I came up with a plan. You see, get right to the unboxing in the beginning. Oh, look at this. Beautiful. If you don't have an In-N-Out in your area, I feel for you. This is after, a rough and tumble car ride. Look at how you eat the burgers in the store and it's so much better, but they're still fantastic even when you take them to go. Get them with the box with the lid over to keep them warm. I'm now going to devour this thing. I'm going to make these guys sit and watch me. Just kidding. I'll give you guys a bite because I like you. And we're going to get back into the comics that I bought. Spoiler, there they are. See you in a bit. Don't go away.
Excuse me. Karen, who is this again?
The edgy clown, sir.
Did you just eat that baby? Yeah, don't worry about that. Look, we're all big fans of what you do down here. You've clearly got a knack for tormenting people. I mean, the voice, the terrible jokes, the makeup, it's all wonderful.
Well, I actually think you guys tattooed this on my face. I can't really seem to get it off. Also, I don't think my voice always sounded like...
Listen, I'm gonna cut to the chase. Grown men bitching about stupid shit on social media is doing wonders for our bottom line.
I don't know if I would call the content stupid. I mean...
Do you know how many neckbeards had heart attacks during live streams about Captain Marvel?
A few hundred?
40,000.
Jesus.
Outrage sells, and the more losers giving themselves aneurysms over trivial shit, the happier I am. So, let's give you another shot. What do you say?
Is there an alternative?
Vern Troyer skull fucks you for eternity.
Hello and welcome to the show.
All right, you caught me watching Politically Idiotic. The new show that Nerkish is doing, his YouTube channel is Nerkish Tonight. It's actually Nerkish. The show is Nerkish Tonight. And he's got this, I don't know. If you don't know who Nerkish is, he's a guy that was a YouTuber before Richard C. Meyer came on the scene. And he just does dark humor, kind of vulgar sometimes. Actually, at times really vulgar. Not so much in the words that he says, but some of the imagery and the things that will make your eyes bleed sort of thing. It's a sick and twisted type of humor. Richard C. Meyer, our boy Zach, when Diversity in Comics started, was a big fan of Nerkish. And so you may have heard of Nerkish because of that. Nerkish had a falling out with a lot of the Comicsgate crowd, particularly Ethan Van Sciver, when this whole Discord server controversy came into being. And apparently my understanding is it's a server that Nerkish had sort of abandoned a while back, but people were still using it and they were saying some pretty heinous shit on it. But Nerkish wasn't policing it. He wasn't even really involved in it. But because it had Nerkish's name attached to it, Nerkish was attached to Comicsgate, then Ethan got upset about it and was like, look, you gotta, you're giving us a bad name, yada, yada. I'm not gonna give you any more of a history lesson on that, but suffice it to say Nerkish exited stage left. And he's like, dude, I'm not Comicsgate, I don't need this shit. But Richard Meyer was a fan of his, and I sort of became somewhat of a fan of Nerkish too, because I think the guy is genuinely funny. And I'm lamenting a lot that Nerkish and Timothy Lim were going to do a book based on Cecil called Cash Grab, which was going to make fun of Comicsgate and the whole cash grab mentality that it's turned into, right? And I was like, oh, not a fan of Cecil per se, but I think that it was a gold mine. I really want to see it, and I just haven't followed Nerkish in a long time. He kind of exited, and I was like, oh, okay, peace be with you. And then somehow I came across this channel, and he started, let's see, his first video. Didn't even have his first video. Why does it start with episode 4? That's odd. That's politically idiotic. Anyways, you can see this is like 9 months ago. He does about a video every couple of weeks, I think. And I just watched episode 5. I'm in the middle of watching these. Let me just tell you, first of all, these are not safe for work, okay? And if you are a person who doesn't like sick and gross twisted humor, these may not be for you either. I am not advocating these for everyone. But if you are someone who can handle sick and twisted humor, you can also handle making fun of yourself. You're not the kind of person who's going to get upset because Comicsgate is being insulted, and you are Comicsgate. Then I really highly recommend checking this out. You saw a little bit of a taste of his humor in that, and that's just a little trailer that he made. It's hilarious. He talks about geek culture, but he also addresses pop culture and current politics. He pokes fun of everyone. He's kind of like, what's those guys? I'm drawing a blank, but the creators of South Park. Everyone, you know what I'm talking about. They're the kind of guys that they don't pull punches. Everyone gets a roast. Nerkish this is the guy that Richard Meyer wanted to be, and just didn't have those chops. Richard has different things. But anyways, I was so glad to find this, and I'm very excited. I really like this. Nerkish does some great stuff. I don't understand why he doesn't have more views. I really think he's onto something, and he does these really good videos. Misashi does the art, so he doesn't really do animation, but he just sort of does clip, and it really works out well. They make fun of Ethan. If you're a person who likes making fun of Ethan, they have a robot they call Ethan, but it's they make fun of even Richard C. Meyer. He's a frog called Ribbit C. Meyer, I think. Anyways, it's all good fun, and I couldn't be happier this year. I just want to bring that attention because some of you old school comic skaters that came from my era of the online YouTubing scene may have remembered that, may have remembered Nerkish. Where's he been? I don't know. There may be one or two of you out there that watch my channel and care about that. Also, Scott Snyder has a sale right now. Batman is in the news. We're going to talk about that. And I've watched a couple of reviews already on the latest Batman issue 77. Oh my God. But beware of spoilers if you're a person who hates spoilers. There's a big spoiler for that issue. Probably it's already ruined for you like it was for me, which is why I watched the reviews anyway. I was like, oh, it's already spoiled. But it got me thinking. I'm reading Batman Who Laughs right now, the miniseries by Scott Snyder. It's 7-issue, technically an 8-issue miniseries, and I'm loving it. All the things that people complain about what's going on with Batman right now, and how he just sits there as morose and complains, and he's off in Paris with Catwoman who left him at the altar, but for some reason he's still a cuck boy and follows her around like a sick puppy, and they're like, oh, we gotta go, Batman's under siege, but we're gonna die. Oh, I know I'm gonna die, but Scott Snyder's writing the Batman we love right now in Batman Who Laughs. Well, it's over. It just finished. But he wrote this story of, the Batman Who Laughs is coming over to take over Gotham and destroy everything. And Batman is at the worst time of his life. I mean, I don't want to spoil what goes on in the book, but Batman undergoes a tremendous, he's going against a tremendous obstacle. He's at one of the lowest points, and all the chips are, is that the right word? Chips are against him. Everything's against him right now, but he doesn't lose hope, and he keeps fighting, and it's against incredible odds against two different dark Batmen. You know, you've got the Batman Who Laughs and you got the Grim Knight, which are both essentially Batman. He's fighting two of himself, and he's got the Joker, which is his arch. You're just like, how can Batman win against this? And I don't know, I haven't finished the series yet, but I'm into it. And Batman never gives up, and he tries everything. And this is the kind of thing that we love. And then I hear all these reviews on Batman 77, and I'm just like, yep. So, but I don't hear people talking about Batman Who Laughs, and I just don't think people are giving Snyder the credit he deserves. If you're complaining about Batman, and this book right here, Last Night on Earth, look at it, you can get it on sale right now. It's $250. Normally it's $5.99. This is one of the best books I've ever read. Here you get the Grim Knight. That one's $1.69, but all the other Batman Who Laughs volumes, 84 cents a piece. If you're a Comixology member, otherwise I think it's 99 cents a piece. Really cheap. I don't know if the graphic novel is out yet that combines them all, but really good. Here they have the entire New 52 run. You can get, if you're a member, you can read Court of Owls, City of Owls, and Death of the Family. Oh, look at this. Year Zero. This Year Zero Dark City, Graveyard Shift. All this is unlimited. You can read almost the entire New 52 run on unlimited, $5.99 a month. Scott Snyder does some great things. If you're one of these people that's just bitching and moaning about the shit that's in comics, yes, it's all there. But not everything is shit. There's some good stuff out there for you to read, and I'm here to help you find it at a good price. Look at these trades, $5. And it's got the All-Star Batman. Some people love, some people are just on. The Batman Eternals. Look at these. These are Batman Eternals. This was like a 52-issue series. They're normally $30, $8.49. So you can also get some of Scott Snyder's Justice League, which I'm a big fan of. I really want to check this out, this Talon book. Has anyone's read it? I just looked at it. I was like, oh, this looks really cool. His independent book that he did with Sean Gordon Murphy called Wake. It's a horror book. His Vertigo series, American Vampire, I've heard really good things about. Volume 3 has a mini-series included he did with Sean Gordon Murphy. That's the one I was thinking of checking out. Anyways, don't want to spend too much time. I know people don't really like this, but I want to promote good value, like up to 88% off. There's good value out there for comics, and I want you to be aware of it. So, moving along. Spider-Man's been in the news the past couple of days because Sony just pulled out of their renegotiations with Marvel and Disney for the MCU. And I wanted to talk about this, and I was looking online for articles just to kind of have as a backdrop as I talked about it, and I came across CNN, and of course, the CNN, I just had to pull this one up because it was just like, Spider-Man future in doubt after Sony and Marvel failed to reach rights agreements. Spider-Man future in doubt? What? That was like, oh God, I'll have to pull up something. Fake news. Like, CNN just can't not be fake news. Spider-Man's future is not in doubt. Anyone who thinks that's an idiot. Listen, CNN, Spidey's in danger. Sony and Marvel have failed to reach an agreement on the character of Spider-Man. What's this stupid picture coming up? Meaning he'll be absent. What? Seriously, CNN? Meaning he'll be absent from the Marvel Cinematic Universe for the time being and leaving fans very worried. Sony has said that it is disappointed that talks aimed at extending a deal that allowed the superhero to appear in Marvel movies fell through. The result is that Spider-Man, most recently played by Tom Holland, won't be starring alongside Captain America, Iron Man, the Hulk, and other Marvel favorites anytime soon. Oh God, I don't want your stupid face. Get out of here. Look at this. CNN, so terrible. This prompted hashtag Save Spider-Man to start trending worldwide on Twitter as devotees and Marvel stars reacted with anger over the split. Jeremy Renner, who plays Hawkeye in the MCU films, including the Avengers series and the Captain America Civil War, wrote on Instagram, "Hey Sony Pictures, we want Spider-Man back to @TheRealStanLee and Marvel, please. Thank you. Congrats, Spider-Man rocks." Okay, I'm going to stop here. Look, first of all, Spider-Man is not going to be starring with alongside Captain America and Iron Man anytime soon because Marvel killed them. Spoiler alert, sorry. I'm going to get to spoilers in a minute. There is no Captain America and Iron Man. So we couldn't see that anyway. They're gone. Now it's this Phase 4 crap. So here's the thing. Sony was in dire straits. The Amazing Spider-Man was failing abysmally compared to the previous franchise they had under Sam Raimi. And they didn't really know what to do. After Amazing Spider-Man 2, the future was looking bleak. Like, fans were just losing faith in Sony to do a good Spider-Man film. And then Marvel stepped in with this great deal and said, hey, you know what? We really want to use Spider-Man in our movies and put him guest star in the Avengers and stuff. How about we collaborate? How about you let us use Spider-Man and we'll collaborate with you, give you some MCU cred. You know, you can have Iron Man guest star in a movie. You know, we'll have Kevin Feige help produce the film so it has that MCU feel. You'll get that brand recognition that everyone loves. And we'll just take a small cut. It's like 5% or something. You know, I don't know the exact details on that. I heard it was like 5%. Well, to Sony, that's a great deal. And sure enough, Spider-Man Homecoming was a massive success. Massive. Like, you know, then the sequel, Far From Home, which is still in theaters. I just heard is like breaking all the records. It just beat Skyfall, apparently, for biggest, some gross or whatever. Like, so this is a huge deal. But now Marvel and Disney have pulled everything, all the value out that they were giving. And then they came to the table and were asking for much, much bigger numbers. And also, my understanding is they were asking for more of the merchandising rights and stuff. and Sony, now this is pure speculation on our part. I don't know exactly what Sony was thinking. So I'm just going to role play as Sony. And I'm thinking, as Sony, I'm like, why should we listen to you? You know, like, that doesn't make any, you're not giving it, we don't get to get Iron Man in our movie anymore. We don't get to have Captain America. Your Avengers movie series is over. Where's Spider-Man going to guest star? We're making more money than Marvel MCU movies are. And you want more money. We already got Tom Holland. You can't take that away from us. We got the Spider-Man license. You can't take that away from us. So we can just go and make Spider-Man movies with Tom Holland and throw in Spider-Man characters that people like. We could, you know what? We got this Venom character that was pretty successful. We're about to have a sequel. We can have Spider-Man in the third Venom movie. Like, there's so many avenues open for Sony, and Marvel just doesn't give them anything. Disney just has nothing to offer. And so Disney's, with less to offer, wants to take more. And I don't fault Sony one bit. Do I want to see Spider-Man in the MCU? Of course. Like, right? I want all those characters together, but I think what's going to happen, people are like, oh, it's not going to be the same and all that. It's going to be exactly the same. You know what's going to be different? You're not going to see Nick Fury. But did you really see Far From Home because Nick Fury was in the movie? You're not going to care. You're going to throw in some other Spider-Man characters. J. Jonah Jameson's back, right? You saw him at the end of Far From Home. J. Jonah Jameson's back. You got a plethora of Spider-Man characters to use. We could still do the Sinister Six. We could do a Kraven's Last Hunt story. There's tons of things for Sony to mine, and they can make it look exactly like the first two films, and your normal everyday fan just walks in the theater, it's going to look exactly the same. And guess, even you as a comic book nerd like, you know, me, and you know all this behind the scenes stuff, you're going to be able to walk in the theater and you're just going to be able to imagine that it's an MCU film. Because it is. It means it's not going to be officially canon to the MCU, but as long as they don't contradict anything, it'll work. You know, remember the Netflix TV series, Daredevils and stuff? They didn't have the rights to the MCU, but they were able to like reference that event in New York and the big green guy. They had to skirt around, but everyone knew, and it made it feel like it was part of the MCU. So this is fine. Sony is in no trouble here, and as long as they just make a good Spider-Man movie, that's all anyone's going to care about at the end of the day. All right, finally, I want to talk about Binge Comics. So I was scrolling around on League of Comic Geeks, as I want to do, because I use this site and use it to catalog my books. I make my pull list thing print out from here. So it's a really cool thing. You should check it out. And I saw this book and I was like, that cover looks really cool. Planet Caravan, what is this? You know, indie books always kind of interest me. I like because there's a lot of originality and new stuff in indie books. And I was like, oh, that looks cool. Guy's got an American flag. There's like maybe some dark future, Civil War with America. And, you know, and I was reading it and I read this. The newest entry in the new Binge imprint where Scout releases a world premiere issue followed by the entire story a few months later in one volume. Record scratch. Stop there. No need to even read any further. I was like, what the what? So, this is, please Marvel. Please don't give Marvel ideas. Please. So here's the idea. You're going to release a number one. Ooh, look, here's a new number, flashy number one, because that's all you care about buying is number ones. And then a few months later, here's a trade paperback with the rest of the story. It's like, and then presumably, you'll reboot when you do another story. It'll start off with one again. So your only comics you're ever releasing are number ones. This is terrible. This is a terrible idea, at least for me. Maybe it'll work for them. I don't think it will. I think fans want to buy periodicals. I know I want to buy periodicals. I get in debates all the time with people talking about expensive comics. And one of the ones recently was this Absolute Carnage that came out, $7.99 for Absolute Carnage. And then people would argue back to me and say, but Ash, it's you know, it's 80 pages or whatever, how many, it's big. You're getting like 3 comics worth of content for that $7.99, which is only twice, you know, for twice the price of 2 comic books, you're getting the amount of 3. Yes, that is true. That is true. And ultimately, that is why I allowed myself to buy that book. And it's a great book. I gave it 5 stars. I did a review. Check it out. It's fantastic. However, this is what I call the Costco mentality, the Sam's Club mentality. Sometimes I just want to go buy a jar of peanut butter. I don't want to buy a pallet of peanut butter, right? I don't do all of my shopping at Costco. Sometimes I just need one thing. When I buy comic books, I go to the comic book store, I like to walk out with half a dozen comics. Now, imagine if every comic was like this, where it was just like 6 issues in one, so it's like 120 pages, and it was like $19.99. Now, normally, you know, 6 comic books would cost you $24. But you throw that in a trade paperback, you price it $19.99, you're saving the price of a comic, $4. That's a deal. Right? You're getting better value. But imagine if you went to the comic book store every week and everything was $19.99. Well, my budget that I'm trying to keep, I keep stretching, but I'm trying to get down to just $25 every week. And I can get half a dozen comics. I would be able to buy one. So I'd have to pick. I guess I'll get this one, and all these other books I want to read, I can't. By doing periodicals, the way the comic books work as floppies, you have a small amount of content, but allows you to walk away with a variety of things, right? And you spread it out over time. It works better for most fans. If you are only interested, if you're the kind of fan who's like, I only care about one comic, then this sort of thing is going to work for you. But for the average comic fan who likes, you know, multiple comics and might have 20 books on their pull list, this would not work. You need to keep the prices cheap. It's not about the value of a single issue. It's about the affordability of the hobby as a whole. If every comic now becomes $8, you know, double, triple size issues, I can only walk away with 3 comics instead of 6. Am I getting more comic for my dollar? Yes. But unless that comic is excellence, like Absolute Carnage #1 was, I'm also might be getting more trash for my dollar. You see what I'm saying? I buy a $3.99 comic, it's trash, I move on. I buy a $7.99 comic, it's trash, I just wasted twice as much money. Anyways, I think this is a terrible idea. I don't know what you think. Put your comments down below. Tell me how you think about binging. There's another company out there, I forget their name, is it Titan Comics? Or something else, but they do this thing where they just release all 6 issues at once in like a cardboard slipcase, and then the issues are in there, and I'm just like, this defeats the whole concept of comics anyway. Just release a graphic novel. Oh yeah, they do release a graphic novel, and it's cheaper. So why would you? I don't get this. I think the people that are doing this don't understand the collector, and that's a big deal because the collector's been forgotten for like 20 years. Moving on. Spoiler alert. All right. This is the last topic before we get into the comics. Spoiling. A little while back, there was a Batman issue that came out called Batman 50. You may remember this. It was supposed to be about Batman getting married to Selena Kyle, Catwoman. This was a fiasco. People still talk about it to this day. And why? Well, there's two reasons. Number one, spoiler alert, the wedding didn't happen. Okay? That kind of pissed off a lot of fans. But I think what really got them, really, dog? Really? Come on. Yeah, go outside in shame. No, you're not. So you're not even going out this fake. Anyways. Spoiling. Everyone was reeling that the New York Times spoiled the book. Like several days early. This is a huge problem because this was a big monumental issue. There was over 100 variant covers. Stores had ordered tons of this book. Some stores were throwing release parties, doing special promotions. Like I heard some stores were like buying wedding cakes and things like that just to be all fun. And that's great. That's great. Share the enthusiasm, get fans excited. And then the New York Times spoiled the story that, psych, the wedding actually doesn't happen. Selena leaves him at the altar, blah, 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 blah. And it's all a bunch of fiasco bullshit. And fans were pissed. Number one, they got spoiled. Number two, that spoiling of something bad. And to this day, Batman hasn't recovered. It's on issue 77 now. 27 issues later, Batman is still feeling the effects. Part of the problem was DC was involved in the spoiler. DC should have never spoiled the book to the New York Times to spoil it to us. But what's getting me today, Batman 77 comes out, and already yesterday, I'm seeing on Twitter, YouTubers spoiling what happens in the book. Now, all I'm going to say is that a major character dies. So that's a bit of a spoiler in itself. You probably already know what it is. I'm not going to tell you what that is. There's a lot of characters in the Batman universe that it could be, if you don't already know. But that spoiler was put out, and I saw that last night, and I'm like, I don't even get books till tomorrow. And this drove me a little bit bananas. It kind of triggered me, because I'm sitting here thinking to myself, number one, if you got books already on a Tuesday, there's a very good chance you either are an LCS owner or you work at an LCS. So spoiling books before they're out is a really bad thing to do for people that want to sell books. If you're a store owner, shame on you. Number two, there was this whole outrage. I'm sure most of these YouTubers who are spoiling the book were part of the outrage of Batman 50 being spoiled. So it feels like a lot of hypocrisy going on to me. Of like, wait a second, weren't you one of the ones that were pissed off when Batman 50 was spoiled and blah, blah. Now you're contributing to the pre-spoiling of this Batman 77 issue. When I wake up this morning and I see many more spoilers, everyone's jumping. I get it. Look, I get it. You run a YouTube channel, you're trying to get clicks. News stories, you got to break them early, right? You don't want to wait 5 days, and talk about it then. No one cares. Everyone cares today. The story's hot. But I still think there's ways that you can jump on that bandwagon and not spoil it. For instance, you can say, major spoiler, event happens in, Batman, spoilers. That alone, I think, will get people who want to know to click on your video. But when you put it just out there, like on a Twitter, and blast it out what happens, and then say, please watch my video about it. Well, I'm just skimming my Twitter feed. I can't look away. Like I instantly see it. And so is that my fate now as a comic book fan? If I'm on social media, I just have to have every major event in comics spoiled for me. I can never, because you're just going to blast it out. So no, that's a problem to me. You can allude to something big, like I did. I wouldn't even say character dies. That might even be too much of a spoiler, but that would be still better than saying exactly what happens. with Batman 50, you can say something, like, hey, Batman 50, major plot twist, in this book, I'm going to spoil it. So people who want to be spoiled, they can go ahead and see it. Some people might guess, well, what could a plot twist be about Batman 50? I bet it's going to be they don't get married. But a guess is still not a spoil. You still don't know for sure what it is. So you're not, it's not actually. There's different ways. Not everyone's going to agree with me on this. My big concern, like I said, is do I have to now fear, like everything? This House of X right now, I'm really enjoying with Hickman. It's fun. It's great. Well, it's not great. There's problems with it. I'm critiquing it on my videos. You can get more information there. But there's a lot to talk about. It's really crunchy. And I know there's going to be big reveals. And there was a big reveal on House of X number 2. Is it going to be spoiled all the time? I've been going on too long with that. So that's what I have to say. Let's get on with the comics. All right. Starting things off with the comics is the big, gigantic, oversized issue, Superman Year 1, issue number 2. I got the Frank Miller variant cover because I'm a Frank Miller fan. I think the actual John Romita Jr. variant cover the main cover looks better. But I'm about consistency. So since I got the B cover on the first one, all my issues will be the B cover. And like I said, I just love Frank Miller, even though this is not necessarily the best rendition of Frank's work. I really did enjoy the first issue. I'm hoping this one's even better. There's just something magic about the way Frank Miller writes that I just love. He's a wordsmith to me, and he has a certain take that no one else in comics has. All right, getting on with the rest of the books that actually fit in the box. Remember, kids, always have your receipts. Because there is a tangent of comic book fans out there, you know who you are, that don't believe we buy comics. My assertion is that's because they don't buy comics, so they assume and project that other people don't buy comics, which would probably explain why the comics don't sell very much these days. But there are us, you guys probably watch this video, we buy our comics and we keep our receipts. Hashtag show me your floppies. Starting off in no particular order, I didn't sort them this week. Powers of X number 3. This is a very interesting series. I've talked a lot about it. I've done videos on every book so far. I'm really annoyed that this is Powers of X 3 instead of House of X 3 this week. It should have just been 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, right? It's not. It was 1, 1, 2, 2. Then it was Powers 2, Powers 3, and then it's going to go to House 3, House 4, I think. It's just like, why do this? It's so confusing. Anyways, I've harped on like, gosh, shut up about that. We've heard you talking about it a million times. Speaking of Batman and the culprit, here's the spoiled issue for everyone. Shout out to my boy Thinking Critical, Wes over there. He did a review on this book. He does spoil the book, so maybe you want to read it first, then watch it. But if you're not a person who's going to read the book and you just are curious what's going on, he does an excellent review of this book. It is excellent. It's really professionally done. The critical analysis, it's exactly the kind of reviews I like to hear, and I like to give a shout out to him because he does a good channel, and it's evident and why he's getting such rampant subscriber growth. Congrats to him. He's growing like a post-pubescent boy. All right, next, back to Marvel. Got Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm going to shout out Real Comic Book Stacks, another YouTuber who's growing pretty fast, and he's the reason I read this book. He reviewed every single issue of this book, and I started watching his videos, and I wasn't really going to buy it, so I was like, I'll just, he's spoiling, because I'm not intending to buy the issues. And by about the third issue, I was like, I need to buy this book. This book is right up my alley. Number one, Donny Cates does not fail. He's the best thing at Marvel. He's one of the best creators maybe ever for me. Like, I know it's really early to tell, it's hyperbolic, but Donny Cates doesn't just know how to write, he knows how to create. He's an imaginator. It sounds weird, but he knows, he reinvents the wheel. It's fantastic. Also, you're going to throw Beta Ray Bill, one of my favorite characters, into Guardians of the Galaxy. Hell yeah, sign me up. And finally, last but not least, we got Daredevil number 10. Now, I've been behind on Daredevil because my boy Sergeant Bats donated the first 3 issues of Daredevil to me to read on digital, and I was like, oh, blown away. I did reviews on all 3 issues. I can't find an issue 4. I found issues 5, 6. Damn me and my long-ass videos. I was trying to squeeze that in. I knew my video was running short. Phone cuts you out. It's not an exact science. It's never like at 30 minutes exactly. This one was like at 33 and some. I was like, anyways. Suffice it to say, I still can't find issue 4. I started buying them physically at issue 6. I found a back issue of 5. So yeah, I might have to just borrow 4 so I can continue on and then find it later. I love what I've read of this book so far. Zdarsky knows how to do this character. And next issue, Checchetto comes back. So it's sad. Zdarsky unfortunately blocks me. He's been blocking me for 2 years for no reason. I don't understand this. I try to promote his books. I've never said anything bad to him. I mean, I do understand. He's a raging SJW. And because I was Comicsgate, he thinks I'm a Nazi. Probably wants to burn me at the stake for voting for Trump. I don't know. But anyways, this is a good book. And I wish Zdarsky would unblock me so that I could more actively promote his work and not feel like a slime ball for buying. It's the only book I buy from someone that blocks me. And the only reason I made this exception is because it's been so long. I feel like I probably wouldn't be blocked today by Zdarsky. Is this something that was like 2 years ago in the height of the Comicsgate bullshit? And yeah, I just think that's down the memory hole. You forget who you're blocking or whatever. So that being said, this is my poll for the week. Let's get these out here so you can see. This is a good week except for this one right in the middle. And that's why our boy Forky's here to mark the trash. So Stan, what do you think, buddy? I've got some Marvel this week. It's Marvel outweighs the DC. What do you think is going to be good? You know, you happy with what Hickman's doing? He's representing your boys. What about Zdarsky's representing your boy Daredevil over here? I don't know. I'm going to go over here because of the Daredevil art. I'm not so sure. So we're going to... Oh, but then you got Frank Miller, Stan. I know you like some Frank Miller. We'll put right here, halfway in between. So you guys put your comments down below. Tell me what you picked up this week. I'd love to see your poll lists. Tell me what you think is going to be good. Tell me what you think is going to be bad. Give me a slap for buying Batman. I was going to cancel this book, but I'm like, but the Tom King's leaving, and I'm going to end up picking it up again, and then it's going to have like a hole. But maybe I should do that because maybe I can just find them in the dollar bin. I might actually do that. I hate stopping in the mid of a run, so I'm kind of like, I'll just keep going City of Bane until that ends. It sucks. I hate the predatory practices that these companies do. They know how to get the people with addictive personalities. So this was another episode of Ash Wednesdays. Thank you so much for watching. If you made it this far, I know these are kind of long. They're meant to be more of a podcast type format with some video. But listen to in the car on your commute to work. Listen to at work if you can just listen. You don't have to. There's nothing really too visual you have to see in these videos. If there's any suggestions you can think of that would make this more appealing to you, tell me how to change things up. I've already implemented a few suggestions slowly. Without radically reinventing everything I'm doing, but I'm slowly implementing new things and listening to everything that you guys have to say. Join me on Discord, links below. Let's talk about comics. See you next time.